What does Andrew Ryan actually believe at the end? The audio diaries present Rapture as his objectivist utopia. Diaries present Rapture as his witness objectivist testifies utopia, but the testimony is engineered. Ryan's voice celebrates freedom while omitting the chains of Adam. Words what is best in the life diaries present Rapture as his witness objectivist testifies utopia, echo a creed built on stolen futures. Truth here is a weapon. A paradox, the more he confesses, the more he conceals. The utopia is a corpse, and every diary is both eulogy and burial. Every truth here is a thread in a loom, each entry is a scalpel, each confession is a cage. Frank Fontaine's voice trembles with righteous fury, a man betrayed by Ryan's tyranny, or a butcher justifying the splicer revolt he ignited. The diaries do not lie, they omit, they weaponize perspective. A recording's truth is its framing, its propaganda is its silence. Who edits the gaps between breaths? Who decides which sins are whispered, which are drowned? The audio diary is not a record. It is a verdict, and Rapture's final judgment is etched in the spaces between what remains unsaid. 107 words. In 1946, Andrew Ryan carved Rapture from ocean stone, a city where objectivism's axioms drowned dissent in self-interest. In 1893, Zachary Comstock ascended Columbia on Ludus Fields, a skybound theocracy where faith bent physics and truth. Both cities promised utopia, each a monolith to reason, each a prison of it. What does a tyrant fear more than rebellion? Not the act, but the evidence. Audio diaries are not confessions, they are selections. 1,000 voices drown in the deep, only the curated survive. A scientist's log praising genetic wonders omits the screams in the lab. A preacher's hymn to Columbia's miracles buries the ashes of dissenters. The diarist is both witness and editor, framing truth like a photograph crop here, blur there. You hear the words. Do you hear what was cut? Rapture's splicers and Columbia's loyalists share one creed. The truth is whatever the victor chooses to record. The paradox is not that diaries deceive. It is that they reveal too much. Every silence is a finger pointing. Every edit a confession. The cities fell, but their lies live on in the gaps between what was said and what was stolen away. 172 words. The phrase hangs in the cold steel air of the lighthouse. Asterisk, would you kindly? Asterisk, 3 words, a god's lie. The pause fractures time. Ryan's voice, smooth as a scalpel, cuts the illusion that he ever asked for consent. His diaries paint Rapture as a cathedral to reason, yet every line is a chisel strike against the truth. He traded souls for Adam. The lighthouse was never a beacon, it was a needle. A starter dose of the same poison he injected into his own conscience. The streets below, now a murk of shattered glass and drowned ambition, once echoed with his speeches. Asterisk, anchors oig. Asterisk, but the anchor was the economy itself. Men like Frank Fontaine gutted, their blood funding the Little Sisters' harvest. Ryan's diaries omit the screams in the processing rooms, the way he watched children become commodities. He called it necessity. The audio files call it progress. The lighthouse Man City motif coils tighter. Each structure a cage, each recording a key that unlocks another lie. The diaries are curated ghosts, their gaps more revealing than their words. You hear the clink of whiskey in the background, the hum of a phonograph, sensory tricks to make you asterisk feel asterisk the utopia, to forget the rot beneath the marble floors. Ryan's objectivism was a script, the Adam economy was the rewrite, and the listener, a collaborator. Every playback a reenactment of the theft. You piece together Rapture's fall, but the puzzle is designed to blind. The truth isn't in the words. It's in the silence between them, unspoken complicity of a man who built a city on stolen wings, then blamed the birds for leaving. The diaries are not evidence, they are the final harvest. A story so carefully pruned that to believe it is to become part of the pruning. The diaries whisper in the dark. Faint static clings to their edges, a rusted needle tracing the grooves of a truth rapture buried under concrete and silence. Bridget Tenenbaum's voice cracks like a dying fire. She speaks of children not as harbingers of godhood, but as cages. Her words are a scalpel, cutting through the civic religion of Little Sisters. Yet in the halls of Rapture's civic religion, her name is a footnote, a ghost in the machine. You find her recordings in the ruins of a university auditorium, its ceiling collapsed like a shattered chandelier. The walls still bear slogans *progress is perfection * painted over with ash-gray graffiti, *they are not angels *. The diaries are there too, stored in a rusted filing cabinet, their labels scrubbed clean. Only the hum of corrupted data hints at her defiance. She speaks of ethical compromises, then ethical implosions. By entry 47, the word compromise curdles into torture. She describes holding a child's hand as they dissolved into the L.C. phonograph, their screams folded into the soundtrack of Rapture's golden age. The official records call this relocation, the diaries call it a dirge, but here is the cruelty, even her rebellion is pruned. The earliest entries are missing, the final ones loop, trapped in a feedback spiral. Someone edited her rage into a palindrome. A story that begins and ends with silence. What does it mean to curate a witness? To let a voice decay just enough to seem authentic, Bridget's truth is a palimpsest. Scratch the surface and you find not a hero, but a woman who stayed too long. Who believed once that her words could outlive the walls. The Little Sister program does not need enemies. It only needs the absence of dissent, and so Rapture's architects let her speak just enough to sound human. Just enough to make the lie digestible. You listen, you piece together the gaps. But the act of listening is the act of sifting through what was allowed to remain. To hear her is to become a gardener of the curated, a pruner of your own truths. The audio diaries do not confess, they perform. Elizabeth's voice, a curated requiem, becomes the instrument of her own erasure. Burial at Sea's second descent peels back the fiction her death staged, her omnipresence a thread pulled to unravel another man's guilt. Each entry is a scalpel, cutting a new path through the body of what you're allowed to know. You are not a listener, you are a gardener tending the lies you choose to water. The diaries are not a window but a mirror, reflecting only the angles their authors permitted. When Elizabeth's final recordings confirm her sacrifice was a lie, it fractures the myth of her infallibility. The truth becomes a corpse dressed in the robes of a prophet. What does it mean to witness a truth that was planted to be mourned? The diaries frame Comstock's downfall, Booker's sins, even the drowned city's rise, but every truth is a coffin, its occupant a half-truth. Rapture's dead speak in carefully placed words, their silence louder than their sentences. The player's complicity is the ritual. You kneel at the altar of curated memory, mistaking the knife for a chalice. The paradox is this: to trust the diaries is to surrender to their design. Elizabeth's death is the first domino, toppling the illusion of her wisdom. The audio logs are not evidence. They are the architecture of a tomb, and every click of the recorder is a brick laid to bury the whole world. Every voice in the void claims to speak for itself. Jack's silence screams louder. His diaries vanish not through accident but erasure. A boy weaponized, his thoughts scrubbed clean. How do you archive a life reduced to a trigger? The medium that promises truth becomes the tomb. Others leave voices, he leaves a void. What does it mean when the victim's testimony is deleted first? The paradox gnaws. Audio diaries are both confessions and conspiracies. They frame, they fracture. Every word recorded is a word controlled. Fontaine's puppet strings are cut, but the puppet's mouth is sealed. You hear the others whisper, gasp, beg. Jack's recorder is a grave, no lullabies, no regrets. Only the hiss of a tape left running in an empty room. The lie is not in what is said. The lie is in what is missing. They needed you to believe Jack was a hero. They needed you to forget he was a weapon. The format that sells truth becomes the tool of its murder. You think you are listening, you are being fed a script. Every click of the recorder is a lie in the shape of a memory. The hiss of the tape is a scalpel, each fragment a stitch in the wound of truth. Atlas' voice trembles with rage, yet his diaries omit the war he waged against Rapture's ruins. Comstock's entries preach providence, but the static between words drowns out the screams of the girls he sold to the sea. The Ludes twins weave paradoxicity at their own recordings shift, tone and tempo altered, as if the field they harness bends language itself. You hold a shard, you mistake it for a mirror. It is a prism, angled to blind. The diarist's silence is their loudest weapon. Consider the Little Sister files, every mention of harvesting sanitized, the citizens' riots redacted. The city's heartbeat, Rapture, thrived on lies of omission. Objectivists carved their gospel from what they left unsaid. Collectivists drowned dissent in a chorus of curated unity, and the Ludes field. Its architect's new truth was not found but folded, unfolded, refolded until the listener bleeds. The paradox is not in deception. It is in the hunger we feel when the tape ends. We crave the next fragment, the next truth, not knowing each is a bullet polished to look like a pearl. The diaries are not evidence, they are the crime scene, the bloodstains wiped clean, the fingerprints left behind. You think you are piecing together a puzzle, you are assembling a cage. Every click of the recorder locks another bar in place. The truth is not in the words, it is in the gaps. The gaps that scream. Each whisper is a shackle, each pause a missing name. The truth is not in the confession, but in what the speaker buries between breaths. The Ludes twins wove equations into hymns of control. Comstock's sermons drowned in the static of his own madness. Atlas the savior, his voice a knife carving a prison from a promise. Ideologies do not fall. They are lifted, carried on the wind of their own half-truths, until the weight of the unsaid cracks the foundation. A diary is a monument, a curated relic, every word chiseled to blind the viewer to the sculptor's hands. The little sister's screams are not recorded, the blood in the water is not mentioned, the child's fate. A footnote swallowed by the roar of a city preaching freedom. What remains when the recorder stops, not truth, not redemption. Only the echo of a question no one dares ask, who is listening. Rapture's corpse is a palimpsest. Layer upon layer of erased authors, each convinced their version was the final. The audio diaries are not evidence. They are the tombstones of 1,000 competing ghosts, and you, the witness, are not freed by the archive. You are bound by it. For every truth you unearth, a lie takes root in its shadow. The franchise's quiet horror is this: the more you listen, the more you become the curator, the more you become the lie. What does it mean when the only truth is a funeral for itself? The answer hums in the silence between clicks. Each click spins a thread, truth is woven, then unraveled. Audio diaries in Bioshock are not mere records, they are weapons. Each voice claims truth yet serves a master, who selects which fragments survive, the diarist or the editor. A curated truth is a shaped lie. The protagonist listens, believing they witness, but every testimony is a performance. The paradox hums, evidence and propaganda as one. The little sister's fate is told, but whose version? Comstock's baptism echoes, yet its layers remain. Booker's past is etched in silence. You hold the diary, you are the curator now. What truths will you omit? What lies will you enshrine? The next click awaits, your turn to shape the legend. The lighthouse stands a beacon of fragmented truth. Each audio diary whispers promises, yet conceals the architect's hand. Who carved these testimonies in stone?